All right, we are back on Morning Line, shifting gears a bit here. We're going to take your phone calls if you'd like to join in the conversation. With us now is Metro Vice Mayor Jim Schulman. He's been joining us on a regular basis. Missed you last week, but it's good to have you back with us today, sir. And just want your take on where things stand. Since it's been a couple of weeks, but I think in those 2 weeks, it's pretty much been status quo as far as the city's concerned with the numbers. We haven't changed to another phase since you've been gone.
Right. So, just thinking about it, as driving over here, it seems like we're still kind of in that holding pattern. Mm-hmm. I know that everybody's, the folks down in the mayor's office and the council and health department, hoping to see this kind of stability and then maybe those numbers start coming down. I think I saw a little bit of that last week, at least from what I understand in terms of talking with the health officials. But and then Nick, then you see the stuff over the weekend where there was this giant party.
Hey, let's show you some video of that. Okay. Go ahead and play it, and you can talk over it while we look. I believe Mary Elena has some of the transportainment vehicles that were partying hard, and then the gathering at one of the parties outside. This was I think in our story this morning, Jim, it was like a photo lounge or something like this. It was a grand party for this new business maybe opening. I'm not sure if that's the video of that or if that's downtown, but that people were encouraged to come out and take pictures and stuff like that. I guess that's the party. And look at all those folks. And it's just, are they just completely clueless?
Well,
some of these people that we're looking at here are going to get sick. And others are going to have it and take it home to a loved one who's going to get sick.
Well, the concern is
that's horrible. I worry for them.
If one person or several people were infected in that crowd and they're talking and having a big time and they're spreading it, then other people are going to get sick. And again, you can look at the vehicles. That's not supposed to be happening either. I think one of the things that I meet with the mayor once a week. And I know they're probably working through this right now, but one of the things that I would probably ask him is, you can, it's like everything else, you can put a lot of stuff on paper and you can sit there and say, okay, these are the rules, these are the policies, but if there's no enforcement, then we're going to have trouble. And I know everybody's trying to be nice and courteous and, you don't necessarily want the police doing this type of work. They've got other things to do. How do we get people to pay attention? And we were talking before off camera. Schools are getting ready to start. And this is a really important time. You've got our young kids getting ready to go back to, they're going to go back to school virtually for a while and then hopefully go back in person. We need to all be really, really careful, and that type of stuff that happens over the weekend is just really not responsible.
What do you hear from your constituents? Because I'm getting the sense now, you see that group, and there's a lot of them, but I think some of the tide, to some degree, I think it's always been that way. I think the majority of people now understand, all right, we need to dial it back and social separate and wear masks and be good about it. I think what we see there is a minority. It looked like a lot of people, but those are the few, and I'm not sure what their reasons are. They're clueless, they don't care, they're selfish. I don't know what it is. Maybe they have a death wish. But what are your constituents saying to you about what they feel about what's happening?
Well, so I think most people now are on the same page. I was gone last week because I went to Oklahoma. Came back and I was kind of noticing, are people wearing masks? Are they not wearing masks? So forth. And to the most extent, people were wearing masks, which was really good.
Well, more people
All right, so then you come back into Nashville and people seem to get it. Haven't been out a lot, but when I go out, people are wearing masks and doing what they're supposed to do. I think people finally figured out, because it spread so quickly, and most people either know of somebody now who's had it, or may have known of somebody who died from it. And I think they understand the seriousness of this situation. What happened over the weekend, and I'm not sure. There was a lot of talk, at least while I was out of town talking to relatives, that it's like, why do people not understand how important this is? And is it just this thing where people don't like being told what to do? And so if you tell them, don't do this, they're going to purposely do it. And the problem with all that is in our form of lifestyle, it's difficult to make people do something they don't want to do. but there are serious ramifications from not doing that.
Yeah, and I know that the city's taken steps with regard to the restaurants and what time they're supposed to close downtown. I know that today I think there's going to be a gathering of some of the bar owners who are going to try to rally and want to ask the mayor, I don't know if you've heard about this, about, hey, look, we'd like to be treated like everyone else. How come we have to be closed, since we're more of a bar as opposed to these restaurants, which can at least be open till 10. And, the decision making on that. And let's be clear on this, too. I understand the hardship for the businesses and the economy and all of that. I don't want to discount what some of these people are feeling and going through in these businesses, and they watch their businesses disappearing before their very eyes. That is really hard, and I'm not sure how you balance it and what's fair. What do you think?
So I'm a big proponent of particularly in a situation like this, and I know the mayor made a difficult decision, but he shut the bars down. This is where, if the group of downtown bar owners, whoever was impacted by that order, if they want to open back up, they also have to work through and come up with a plan, and I think they're trying to do that at this point. They've got to come up with a plan, and I refer to it more as self-policing. They can't police the whole thing, but they've got to take steps to make sure that they are protecting not only the people, their employees, but the people who are coming into the bars. So, as much as some people think government is sometimes too overreaching, government can't do everything, and the police can't do everything. You know that. Health department can't do everything. So if the bar owners really want to open back up, anybody who's impacted by that order, it's almost as if they have to come together and say, okay, you're not going to open us up. We've got a plan to open back up. Here it is, and we're going to stick to it. It's the same thing, watching the video, people running around on the bus. That's not supposed to happen. Don't do that. That's a violation of the order, and what you could be doing is getting a lot of people sick. So this is all on not only the government, but on us as well. I think we've been saying that. You got to wear a mask, you got to practice social distancing. But if you're a business establishment and you want to stay open, then you need to take precautions and need to, follow the rules so that you can stay open. And if you're shut down, you got to come up with a better plan to open your doors again.
Yeah, exactly. Come up with a plan. We've got a call from Jean. Good morning, Jean. Go ahead, Jean.
Yes, I just wanted to say that I feel like the issue downtown is the tourists. I don't think that these are. I don't think that these are local people downtown. I think that most of what we're seeing downtown is coming from our tourists, and we do welcome the tourists, but I think they're the larger bulk of our problem, because I think the citizens in this area are getting it. They're realizing the importance of wearing masks, and I've noticed when I go to Kroger, Walmart, Target, I see more people actually wearing the mask. So I think the bigger issue downtown is that our tourists coming in and not respecting what we are requiring or asking them to do.
Wow. You know what, Jean? I think you're definitely on to something there. I think there's certainly, I think she's right to a large degree. I don't know that would apply to that party that we saw, which I think was over at a home in East Nashville that maybe more locals knew about. But downtown, what do you think about that? That transportainment bus we saw, they could be tourists, and she's right. Those folks, they're on vacation, they're coming here to Nashville, they're going to party and have a good time. And I think we're seeing more visitors coming to the city again after it had been kind of closed down. What do you think?
No, I think that's right.
I mean, how many of them are from out of town? How many of them are locals? I don't know.
Yeah, so I mean, I think one of the things, I think Jean's right, a lot of these folks probably are tourists. And we saw that early on when Convention Visitor Center said, okay, we're going to do the, good to go. A lot of those programs and protocols were designed for the bars, the restaurants downtown, to try to help keep people safe.
Right, and knowing that if you close that down, it would keep people away, right?
Well, so if you closed everything down, then nothing was going to happen. Right. But if you figured out ways to get everybody up to speed, then you wanted people to come back. the problem with all that to me was, okay, that's good for our employees and good for the people who are around here, but the tourists don't necessarily know what our standards are, what our protocols are, what our regulations are. All right, so we have to make sure that we want our tourists to come, just like Gene was saying. We want them to come here, but they have to understand what our regulations are, and they have to understand that they are visitors to our city, guests of our city, but we do have rules that apply. Same thing if Gene was to go to, Atlanta.
Yeah, sure.
If Atlanta has rules, then the proper thing as a guest to their city is to follow the rules. Now, one thing, Nick, that I would say is one of the things I was trying to watch on the news last night when I was watching the video was, who were these people at this party? Okay, and I know people go like, it's just one party. But it had a lot of people there, and then they go back out, and who knows what happens. But the question was, were these tourists that were at that party? Were they Nashvillians? And if they were, what is it? Why did they go to that party knowing that this was a possibility? And did they just not care? Or, what is it? And some of that data, maybe we have, I just hadn't seen it yet.
Yeah, it's tough to make these calls, whether you're vacationing and wanting to have a good time. Jim, I had a good friend whose mother passed away the other day, and they were going to have a funeral, mostly for family, and he totally understood. I didn't go. I contacted them. I made a donation in his mother's name to a cause that she wanted, but I chose not to go to the funeral. Okay, and I think they were social separating, but who knows with family members hugging with the loss of a loved one. Another one where a friend of mine was having a gathering for his daughter who had just been able to adopt a child. A joyous time, 20, 30 people there. Now, hopefully social separating, but that was part of my thinking in this case. And those are things that I wanted to go to people that I really care about, but I made the choice that at this point I don't want to go anywhere there is a crowd. Now, I'll go shopping. Do you go out and eat at a restaurant some? I've been to some restaurants.
I have.
Where I feel safe. If I go to a restaurant, it's packed to the gills, I turn around, I'm gone. But I'll go, I sit at a table separated, I make sure I see the waiters and waitresses wearing masks. Sometimes if I can sit outside, and I feel safe. And I want to patronize restaurants when they're open. But I'm real cautious on these things, and I'm sure as heck not going on a vacation to Atlanta and crashing down there, downtown partying with everyone. It's not like I have to do it. It seems like some of these people refuse to give that up. Like, oh, well, I got a party on a Friday night. I'm headed out.
Yeah.
What is wrong
No, I know
with
that.
you?
I know people.
Stunning.
We've been dealing with this since March. I know people are tired, but it's one of those things where it's still dangerous to go out there and make mistakes. If you have to go out, you wear your mask, you practice social distancing. Like you, I went to a restaurant. I've been to several different restaurants.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to go into a restaurant that is packed, and I'm going to go to a restaurant where they practice social distancing, where they are the waiters and waitresses are wearing masks. I'm going to be very, very cautious and careful. And I would think, Nick, that by this time most people, because we've tried to drill it into their heads, if you walk into a situation where you should feel uncomfortable if you see people not doing what they're supposed to.
Right.
And it should be one of those things where it's kind of like you back up a little bit. And again, if you're walking in a place where there's a lot of people and they're not wearing masks and it makes you feel uncomfortable, then don't go there.
Yep.
Leave.
I'm out of there. Listen, we'll take a break. When we come back, more of your phone calls, more of our conversation with Vice Mayor Jim Schulman right after this.
This is a Storm 5 weather update. For weather on the go, download the Storm Shield app.
Quiet weather through the overnight hours, power of 5 radars. Not a lot to worry about. We do have the chance, though, by Monday afternoon of seeing